Hello and welcome to The Point. I'm Marcel Wieder, coming to you from the Peach Gallery in downtown Toronto. Today on The Point, Bonnie Crombie takes the reins from Canada's longest-serving mayor. And I'm joined by a panel of experts to review the biggest political news stories of 2014. All that and more on this edition of The Point. It's the beginning of a new era in Mississauga. On December 2nd, Bonnie Crombie was sworn in as mayor. She is the city's first new mayor since 1978. Crombie takes over for Mayor Hazel McCallion. McCallion was Canada's longest-serving mayor. She helmed the city for 36 years. Mayor Crombie now faces a new set of challenges, with the city facing a $1.5 billion infrastructure deficit and a need for more transit. Joining me is newly minted Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie. Thank you for joining us, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Marcel, for having me today.
Madam Mayor, the election was thought to be a very close one that people were predicting would go right down to the wire. And at the end of the day, you came in with a more than 2-to-1 majority.
63.5%, actually, a popular vote. Yes, it was quite an experience. Of course, I was always cautiously optimistic, but you just never know. You have to continue to work hard. I always work as though I'm the underdog.
Now, you were a federal MP for Mississauga-Streetsville, City Councilor, Ward 5, and now you're the mayor of Mississauga. What was it like campaigning across the city?
Well, it's a completely different experience. You know, certainly when you're in a riding race or in a ward race for a city, it's very defined, and you can go out and you can knock on every single door, which is what you should do in an election campaign. But that's not the case in a mayoral race. It's 6 ridings or 11 wards. It's too massive an undertaking. So whereas I did knock on some doors, we had canvas blitzes on Saturdays and Sundays. For the most part, it's name recognition and name brand awareness. So you try and attend as many possible events as you can. You get out and meet as many people as you can. So you tend to attend events that are, have a lot of attendees, participants. So if there are 2 or 3 or 4 or 500 people, I would be there. I would be at the GO trains in the morning, shaking hands and handing out literature. I'd go to wherever there was a large crowd. It became known as going to the opening of a door.
Now, a lot of people attribute your win to Mayor McCallion's support of your platform. Yet, when we look at the advanced polls, we saw that you were clearly ahead of your opponent, and that was well before Mayor McCallion made her statement.
Well, a couple of things in there. Certainly, we never felt like we were behind, even though you always run like you're behind. I was always receiving positive feedback. I've yet to meet that person that said, sorry, we're with the other guy. But the polls were showing us neck and neck, and I respect that. And polls, as we know, is just a snapshot of one particular day. And certainly, there's new technology now, IVR.
Interactive voice
recognition. And I understand that the demographic that tends to respond to those IVRs is an older demographic with a landline. And many of my voters are very much from the diverse communities, and people have younger generation that have cell phones. So when you look at the people who respond to those IVRs, they tend to be an older demographic. So in my mind, he and I were tied with his demographic rather than broadly. So I knew that we were safe, but you still have to work hard. And certainly when the results of the advanced polls were read, it was clear that we had won the advanced polls by 10%. And let me just share with you that those advanced polls were taken in September and October, and the final advanced poll, and this is an important date, was Saturday, October 10th. Well, Mayor McCallion made her supportive statements. We won't call it an endorsement because she supported the ideas in my platform.
Right.
She said she would only wade into the debate should one platform be detrimental to the city. So I guess she deemed one of the other platforms detrimental to the city. So she came out and supported mine and the ideas. And that was at a dinner on Friday, October 9th. So that happened. And Saturday, October 10th was the final advance poll. And we released that video on Sunday, the 11th. So people who already voted in the advance polls had no idea that Hazel McCallion was going to be behind my platform.
So now you're in the mayor's office and you have the chain of office and all the responsibilities that go with it. What are your priorities for the next few years?
And let me just address the chain of office, if I may. So they retired the chain that Hazel had worn. It had a little bit of wear and tear after 36 years. And they made me a beautiful, brand new, kind of modern, but lovely, lovely chain. I'll wear it proudly. So very much, just like Toronto and the other cities in the GTA, we have to focus on transit and transportation and addressing our gridlock and congestion. So it's building that regionally integrated transit network. For us, it's completing our bus rapid transit way and beginning the spine of the north-south part of our transit plan, which is the light rail transit along here, Ontario. So those are some of the ways we'll address our congestion and gridlock through improved and enhanced transit, including our MyWay bus transit as well. Certainly through economic development, expanding our economic base. That's a program to retain the businesses we have, expand the businesses we have, and as well go abroad to look for foreign direct investment. I'll be very actively looking for investment. We've planned a number of trade missions already, India, Pakistan, Poland. And we have a highly skilled work base in Mississauga, highly skilled resident base that speak 70 languages that come from 150 different countries. So we're going to leverage their talents, their skills, and their business networks abroad to bring in some of that investment. And I'm creating an international investment advisory panel to leverage that as well. But in addition, I've announced the mayor's task force on the innovation agenda to promote us as a hub of innovation and ideas. So our local entrepreneurs can take their ideas from concept to commercialization right in Mississauga. And I really want us to become that hub of innovation and entrepreneurship. So those are three of the most critical areas. I want to also address the youth job challenge. We have 20% youth unemployment in the Peel region, and I will be issuing the Mayor's Job Youth Challenge. And then finally, Marcel, is of course the issue of respecting taxpayers and tax increases. And I've made a commitment to keep taxes to the rate of inflation. And we're undertaking budget season right now.
On that point, and you have outlined a very ambitious agenda for the next little while, how do you see being able to keep taxes low and being able to deliver on the commitments that you've made?
Well, certainly, I'm going to work with the council. We have a kind of a new dynamic. We have a lot of consensus, and I've already had a preliminary look at our budget, and it's very realistic for us to come in at the rate of inflation this year. And so, I welcome all the new initiatives the other councillors are bringing to the table. I've met with each and every one of them to understand their priorities.
Well, speaking of that, there's a story going around that says that you baked personally cookies and delivered them to each of the councillors. Is that true, Madam Mayor?
It's half true. I didn't actually bake the cookies, but I did receive as a Christmas gift a beautiful platter of cookies. And it happened to be on a day where I knew that all the new councillors were in their offices, and I wanted to meet with them individually and welcome them and wanted to meet with their new staff. And so I took the platter of cookies and went door by door, councillor by councillor, ward office by ward office, and brought my staff with me, and I introduced my new members, and we introduced each other, and I welcomed them, and just, we shared all the cookies. So certainly.
Well, it's certainly a creative way of breaking the ice.
Exactly.
With the new council.
Exactly. And one of my priorities was to create a consensus among councillors and to meet with them individually and ask what their priorities are, much the way you do in the business world. What's your agenda? What are your goals and objectives for this year? How can I help you be successful? And then, of course, I don't measure them. They're direct employers. The voters do. Their residents do. And I asked as well, what they wanted to be known for as a council. So what are your goals and objectives for your ward? And what do you want us to be known for? What should we have accomplished in this 4 years? And there was a lot of synergy and similarity in the responses. So I was very delighted about that. And I feel very strongly they're going to work as a team. So I'm very pleased about that. And they welcomed the approach and said that they were just delighted at being asked their opinion and what they wanted to accomplish.
Well, certainly there's going to be a different attitude and a different style at City Hall in Mississauga after 36 years of having Mayor McCallion. It's now Mayor Crombie. People are going to have to get used to that. Mayor Crombie, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us and sharing some of your views. We look forward to having you back in the new year.
Thank you so much, Marcel. Thank you for having me.
Up next on The Point, we look at the top political stories of 2014 with our panel.